Hi, this is Barry here, and you're very welcome to today's podcast episode from WriteCome.com. And today I thought we'd have a look at the subject of book reviews, but probably not in the way that you've been thinking about them before. For a lot of authors, we ask our audience, our readers, maybe with a message at the back of your Kindle book, whatever you're asking for, reviews on the Amazon site, and you're asking for this and that. And, maybe you go as far as that. Maybe you don't think much more about your reader or your reviews after they've gone up on the site. You let them do the work on the site, and you don't really think about, well, what else could I use those book reviews for? Or what else could I do with them? You've probably never asked your audience, rather than just putting a book review on Amazon, maybe just sending you an email, just if you've been in contact with them, just ask them, what did you think of the book? Send me an email and, tell me what you thought of it. Because Amazon at the moment, I don't know if it's still the case, but it was for a while where they were actually claiming copyright on any content that was put up on the site. So if people put up book reviews on for maybe your book or whatever, you couldn't claim those book reviews, or you couldn't repurpose them on your own blog, because Amazon would say, well, that is content that is on our site and you're infringing on our copyright because you're robbing that content. And while it is a bit unfair, because at the end of the day, it's not content that was created for Amazon, it was content to try and help you sell your books. Your audience was trying to help you out. So it's unfortunate when you can't actually do that. Now, I don't know, maybe they've changed the case for that. I don't know, but there was a while that was the case. But, there's no reason why you can't contact your readers and just ask them just personally, would you send me a quick email and give me a thought on, of your book, and use those emails for, in your marketing efforts. A lot of people don't actually go and think about what they can do with those emails. But here's a couple of ideas you might try out and see how they work for you. Now, these ideas had come from a podcast I've been listening to recently, and it's from Sean D'Souza, and it's called 3 Month Vacation, and it is a podcast I highly recommend you listen to, because Sean is he seems to be light years ahead in his marketing knowledge and the information he puts out. So you learn a lot from that podcast, and I highly recommend you subscribe to it and listen to Sean, because he's a lot to teach. But when it comes back to the topic of book reviews, from listening to that podcast, I was just thinking, well, what else could you use book reviews for? And one of the things you could use them is on a social media post. When was the last time maybe you took a book review that one of your readers gave you and put it on maybe an Instagram post, maybe with an image of your book in the background? Or, when was the last time you maybe put it on a Pinterest post, or use it in some way of marketing with your images, because, there's you saying, well, my new book has been released and it's fantastic and this and that. And sometimes, if we read it from a third party, we'll probably pay more attention to it than that. So why can't you use those third party book reviews for your social media posts? There's nothing wrong with you just putting it on an Instagram post, or even just talking about it. Like, even if you have a podcast or something like that, just reading out a couple of the book reviews you had recently on a book you released, and getting some use out of it, rather than just leaving them lying there just to, on the KDP site or whatever it is, and not thinking about what else you can do with that. So why not use your book reviews for a social media post? Even a tweet on Twitter, just put a simple book review up. This is a book review I got on my book today, blah, 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 and just tweet it off to your followers, or a Facebook post, or whatever it is. So that would be one idea you could use for a book review. Another thing then too is to put them on a banner ad. If you're creating banner ads over at Canva or whatever, one way you can get more people to pay attention to that banner ad is with a little bit of text on it. And, another way to again, bring a third party into your marketing is to put book reviews on those banner ads, along with, such and such a person thought this about my book or whatever, and just have it in small text. Or even use it, the kind of same way you see, like, some books have a book blurb or something like that. Could you use it on a banner ad? So if you're creating banner ads and you're putting them all over the place, have a thought, maybe consider using maybe a couple of book reviews on those things to add a little bit of extra kind of marketing and a little bit of strength to those banner ads. Another thing then too was to use them maybe as a blurb on your book cover. You see a lot of the well-published authors, the James Pattersons and all those different people who would have, like, at the very, very top of the book cover, the first thing you would see is maybe a book review from another well-known author. So why, no, you mightn't have maybe well-known authors who know you at the moment, that may be further down the line, but why not use your audience as a review on your page at the top of the book cover? And so the reader then looking at the book cover, that's the first thing they come to, and it kind of puts them in a positive frame then when it comes to considering buying your book. So why don't you use those book blurbs? Don't go over the top and have them all over the place. Maybe even one or two or something like that. Maybe you can put more on the back cover, but on the front cover, there's no reason why you can't drop one in here or there, and it'll help out with your marketing. Another thing then too is not only should you be asking your readers to leave book reviews at the back of your book, but why not open your book with some book reviews? I was reading a book recently by I can't think of his name, but it is the book called Persuasion. And it's a very great book. You should read it if you get a chance. But one of the things that he talks about in that book, the author, on persuasion, is how you can frame someone's mind by things that lead up to a certain point. So if you imagine you see it and maybe you don't pay much attention to it. Most of us will probably just skim through it. But you maybe have come to about a well-known author's book, and usually for the first couple of pages you get a lot of book reviews, and they're all from kind of well-known people like celebrities or high-powered people in whatever industry they're in, and they're congratulating them on the book and they're saying it's an amazing book. And those are kind of persuasion messages, because when you're going through all those book reviews and you're seeing all these people having all this positive all this positive talk about how great this book is and what you're going to learn from that book, when you actually get to start to dip into the book, you've already kind of been persuaded before you've actually reading that you're thinking, wow, this is going to be a great book. I'm going to get a lot out of this book. Rather than, and maybe if all those book reviews were left off and you just kind of started off on page 1, you would probably come in to that book maybe with a kind of neutral feeling about how it's going to help you. Is it going to help you? Is it not going to help you? And by not having that kind of opening kind of few pages with all those book reviews, you come to the book kind of flat. But like when you have those book reviews from all those well-known people, again, they don't have to be well-known people. They can be readers that are on your list and people who have loved your work. Put all those book reviews at the beginning of your book, because it helps kind of persuade that person. It puts them in a positive frame of mind when it comes to reading your book. They feel that this book is going to be a good book, it's going to be an exciting book, it's going to be a good romantic book, I'm going to love this book, or I'm going to learn a lot from this book, or whatever style of book it is you have written. But by using those book reviews at the very, very beginning of your book, it kind of puts that person in frame of mind and makes them more positive. But they're going into the book that this is the book that is going to be the right one for them, and you can actually maybe sway them that way. I don't know if it's a kind of psychological thing or what it is, but you can actually sway that person to be more positive to your book because of that, because you have persuaded them with all those positive book reviews. So whatever you're doing today, have a look at the book reviews that you've collected from your audience. Again, don't just send them all to the KDP store. Be afraid of contacting your list and say, would you mind sending me a personal email? What did you think of the last book? And then use those book reviews yourself in your social media posts, put them on your banner ads, use them as blurbs on your book covers, and fill up the first couple of pages of your book with those book reviews. Another thing you can also do as well too, which mightn't be related to books, but more or less maybe if you are thinking maybe of going down the line of creating training courses or something like that, maybe in relation to your book. Another thing too that to bear in mind about book reviews is how they can actually sway your audience. If you come to a product page and it is full of reviews written by ladies, there's a good chance as me coming to a man will probably look at all those reviews on that product and say, I think it's all ladies that are buying this product, so maybe it isn't for a man, and then I don't buy it. And you may find that if you have a lot of reviews on your product page, or the sales letter that you have can actually sway your audience one way or the other. Say for example, a lady comes to a sales letter and it's all full of male reviews left on it. There's a chance you might be thinking at the back of her mind, well, this is a kind of more male related thing, it probably won't be any good to me. And you might find maybe that the ladies in your audience aren't actually buying your product because of the review that's left on it. So consider that then too when you're putting up your reviews as well. You can actually sway your audience one way or another by having more of one reviews by one sex rather than another one. And again too, if you find maybe that all your products are all being bought by men, or you'd like to have more ladies buying your product, have more reviews up by ladies, and then the ladies comment to that then will actually be swayed. I don't know if it's a psychological thing or whether kind of birds of a feather kind of flock together, but you can make a difference on your sales pages and your book review pages by actually paying attention to whether all your book reviews are all from men or all from ladies, because it can sway your audience then, whether they will actually buy the product because of, who is actually buying the product before them. So again, pay attention to your book reviews. Don't leave it all for Amazon to use up as their content. Get your own book reviews and use them as much as you can in your marketing efforts. And with a little bit of imagination, there's no reason why it can't help you sell books in the future. So if you enjoyed this podcast episode, if you learned a thing or two, I would greatly appreciate it if you would drop by the WriteCome.com website, which is WriteCome.com, or if you would hand this podcast episode over to somebody else, just direct them to it and give them some of the information and tell them that we exist. I would again greatly appreciate it. So as always, thanks for your time today, and take care and have a great day. Bye bye.